All right, what is up, everybody? Shell Scout 0013 here, coming in with a Yoda Masterclass series with Chris Velazquez, or better known as Kylar, in the Discords. So, just a few announcements. If you're interested, you can look at the timestamp down below if you don't care about the giveaway. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about the ways to enter into that, and then I'll get into the rest of the video. So, there's 3 different ways to enter and win. First off, all you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment down below. That'll enter you in to win an unopened box of Rebel Troopers. And another way to win is to be a member of the Discord. All you have to do is sign up, and which is free, and start chatting or leaving comments, which is also free. But what I'll do is, in order for you to win, I'll basically look at the who is chatting, and that will tally up, some extra points for you. And lastly, all you have to do is be a member of the Clan of Shadows Patreon. If you want more ways to win, then all you got to do is just sign up, and that gets you extra giveaway points. If you just want one extra point, then all you got to do is just be an unpaid subscriber, which is pretty cool. But it really helps the channel if you can at least do $1 or even more, because that'll help with more giveaways and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks, guys. And if you enjoy this, then hopefully what you can do is keep on watching. All right, and I'll get into it. What is up, everybody? Shell Scout 0013 here, coming in with Kylar.
Hello.
And today we're going to go over part 3 of the Yoda Master Series, kind of focusing on movement and the different things that Yoda is able to do on the field. So I will go ahead and let you take it away.
All right. There's a lot to talk about, and don't mind me playing with the TTS and moving the minis about. There's a lot of different things that we want to cover. This specific one, we're going to be covering the melee menace that Yoda can be. And why is he such a great melee unit is because he has access to a lot of powerful keywords on his command cards that he's granted throughout the course of the game. Specifically, we're talking about like Relentless on his 2-pip, Charge on his 1-pip, which I have those in my command hand if you care to look at them. Uh, and also the Chewbacca 2-pip, which allows you to do teleport shenanigans and piggybacking. And of course, we also have access to cards like Burst of Speed, right? So because of Burst of Speed, Force Push, the Yoda 1-pip, the Yoda 2-pip, Chewbacca 2-pip, we really are creating a scenario where we have this kit of tools, and Yoda has so many tools that you wind up having the the um the total is greater than the sum of their parts, right? So it isn't just that he gets access to Speed 3. It isn't just that he gets access to Relentless or Charge or Disengage or the Teleport. It's the fact that you get them all, and that as you're playing the game and you're cycling through the command hand, and oh, you made those bigger. That's cool. Whatever.
Yep, sorry.
The 3-pip isn't super relevant, but it's just the fact that it cycles, which we talked about in our last video. The 3-pip cycles and gets you back the 1-pip. So that's super powerful and important. And you're going to be able to do these plays multiple times per game, right? And sequencing them is going to be pretty crucial. Now, we're going to start with a bit of a 101 when it comes to movement and stuff. But for people who don't know this, and I'm going to just go ahead and drop this silhouette on Yoda because I don't want to lose my place on. Oh no, and I ruined it. Well, whatever. We know that it was basically back here. One of the things that I wanted to show people is that, and because showing or seeing is believing, is that if you have someone who is right there deployed exactly on a line, right? If you are using the movement tool, most units are going to have speed 2. And something that's very important for people to know about this game is that a perfect speed 2 move is not quite, I don't know how much you want to zoom in there, but it is not quite going to touch the line. So I was touching the line from this end, from the other side, but it is not quite a range 1. So this range 1 band is not able to be moved at speed 2. Okay, and so this is what really starts to highlight the power of a speed 3 melee unit. Okay, now all the Jedi who have force power slots can take bursts of speed, but Yoda has 3 force slots, and so he can take bursts of speed without giving up important things like push or barrier. And so it's something that I like to bring up to people, that burst of speed is going to be quite good. And if you still, and even if you don't want to run burst of speed and you'd rather take a different force power, his size matters not gives him speed 3 twice per game if you're rotating the cards. So given these instances where you can get speed 3 multiple times per game, and knowing that the range band that a speed 2 unit doesn't have access to, but you would do because Yoda would be a speed 3, right? And a speed 3, as you can see, clears some and more, right? Like it is going to go like very obviously further than the range 1. Then you now have access to things that other units don't have access to. And here's another thing that I like to show, which is if I plop Yoda right there on the line, right, and we
Mm-hmm.
are to look at moving speed 3, which is very important, and we do this twice, what we actually get is we get a distance that is less, and let me go ahead and hit done. We get a distance that is less than if a unit started at range 3 from over there, from where I started. I am now within force push distance to bring this model into base to base contact and begin melees. So even in some worlds, you can cross that very crucial range 3 band and put yourself safely into a melee engagement off of a force push. Whereas if I had a speed 2 unit, I would be just shy, right, by some small margin. I'd be just shy after those 2 moves. And even if I did that full speed 1 move with this unit, as you can see, there would be a gap, a very sizable gap. I think a speed 1 would get me about here. I mean, we don't have to actually measure, but you get the idea. Speed 1 will be drawn from here to here, because it's 3.9 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go ahead and 3.9. Oh no, you moved it.
Oh,
Whatever.
my bad.
There you, you see the point, right? Yeah, you see the point, right? So this inability for a force user to engage with a unit that's speed 3 away is one of the very tactical choices that people can make during a game. And being able to throw your burst of speed, right, on the turn where you have relentless, move Yoda twice. Okay, you do the first speed 3, right? If the unit was over there, right? Actually, because you actually have some wiggle room. It doesn't even have to. It could be a little bit more than speed 3 or range 3 away. Uh, I'd be able to do that. Oops. So I'm not even going to be super precise. I'd be able to go ahead and do this the full move here, right? Force blast, right? Off of a relentless, full speed 3, blast somebody else, blast them again, whatever I want to do. And if there's still, some bodies left alive, I can then go ahead and just do the force push to begin that engagement with this unit. Super powerful play because you have access to that. And then of course you would say, "Oh no, but then I'm gonna have a speed 0 Yoda." Well, sometimes having a speed 0 Yoda is what you want. And you say, "What? What do you mean?" Well, speed 0 units, and this is going to bring me to point number 2, speed 0 units can't get force pushed. So this unit is now Yoda is literally immune to being force pushed out of a melee. So what that really means for you is that Yoda can chill here, okay, on the turn. Maybe after I do my 2-pip, I want to recycle back into my 3-pip and just be a commander again, safely nestled into an engagement with a bunch of units, right? Maybe he force blasted them, he suppressed them up. He's not super worried. I pop this card. I have some dodge tokens. I'm feeling great. I'm going to share those with my team. And now I'm at speed 0 unit. I'm immune to force push. So if my opponent had a unit that is a force user, he can't force push me out. So you say, oh well, he's just going to disengage, right? So, or excuse me, withdraw. So he's going to withdraw from combat. Well, guess what? That's a speed 1. So now I just go with Yoda, and then I force push you back into me, right?
So also, what
And
if you
now this
did
unit has activated.
right? And so what if you also played Size Matters not after you played Burst of Speed? Now you have speed 2, but you
Sure,
can't be
and
force
that's
pushed
another
still because a force
you.
push is speed
No, you
1.
would be. Well, you would be able to be force pushed if you play your 1 pip. Just to be clear, because it
Okay,
changes the maximum speed of your card 2, 3, and then the immobilized token brings you back down to speed 2, and then because the speed of the unit is at least 1, they may be force pushed again. So
got you.
so
Okay,
you're gonna need to look for opportunities. Yeah, but that's a great point, right? So you've brought up one way to get around that, right? So if I burst of speed it in with there is no try, I can basically be a regular Jedi with normal speed 2 in charge on the next turn. That immobilized token doesn't mean anything to me, which no other Jedi who uses burst of speed has the ability to say, oh, I'm also back to my like it's I'm immune to that force push, right? Because they are going to go from speed 2 to speed 1, and then that's kind of awkward because the range bands and the different distances and things, it makes their ability to kind of maneuver around the battlefield less prominent, which is why some people choose to not use burst of speed on some of their Jedi, because they hate the feeling of, yeah, sure, I got into the engagement, but then when I get that immobilized token, then I feel very, very unable to move around the battlefield for that turn. And of course, the bigger thing is when they get force pushed, they if they get force pushed in the wrong direction away from the enemy units, their ability to kind of close that gap is hurt a lot. So yeah, you have the ability to just basically go back to speed 2 with an immobilized token after a burst of speed just by playing your 1 pip and just getting around that. So super, super powerful play there. But again, I really wanted to highlight the difference between when you have speed 3 and like what that enables, right? So it enables you to cross these gaps, and that's pretty darn sweet. So what else is going to matter there is that, of course, we have other ways that we can traverse gaps. I have Chewbacca over here. Uh, if I had Chewbacca here, after he ran up and this unit was exactly speed 3 away from Yoda, or whatever, and I'm not being super, super uh, fiddly with the distances, but you get the point, right? They're about speed. They're right about range 3. Yeah, exactly range 3 away from there, right? Range 1 away from Chewbacca is all I need. So pop him here. Cool. All right, now Yoda, play Chewbacca 2 pip, piggyback. I can teleport Yoda into base contact with Chewbacca. I can do the place anywhere as long as it's basing him. And then on Chewbacca's turn, I could have Chewbacca, who is definitely within range. Definitely within range if I did 2 full moves. Uh, to run over and base this guy. Begins a melee.
sorry.
Bring him into melee here, and then I can do a place of Yoda, and now Yoda, I think that looks a little ugly, so I'll just do it here. I'm not trying to be optimal for gameplay purposes, but as you can see, we now have an engagement that Yoda was, because off of each of those moves, the card Size Matter sometimes says you pick up Yoda and place him in base contact. So after we do the coherence and bring all these guys into the melee, I pick up Yoda wherever he was, from the last time, and we get to do a place. And if that place includes touching this unit, he's placed into melee as well. So now Yoda and Chewbacca are safe and sound in this. And then again, we were talking about that trying to be safe, right? If this unit was to withdraw from combat, they move speed 1 away, they cohere, right? I haven't gone with Yoda now, but I can. So now I can just go with Yoda. I say, hey, force push you back into me. Cool. You know?
Or could you guidance
Again, you
Chewie forward, and that way you gain more or you travel farther?
Yeah, and that's a great that actually kind of brings me to the next one. So I could either bring them in and then slaughter them, right? Because obviously Yoda is going to do 4 red to pierce 2. That'll kill 2 arcs most of the time, right? So that kills that squad. And then I can either have and then I can guidance Chewbacca to run behind this rock so that maybe I'm not getting shot, right? Or I could, if they withdrew from here, I could do the force push over here, right? Move them this way and then do a guidance, tell Chewbacca to start this melee, Wrap pulls them in, and then I can teleport with the place and then kill them back here, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of ways that you can do it. I think that inevitably the sequencing is going to matter for your game state. I want people to be thinking about the sequencing of those things, but just showing you that utility that you have with the force pushes and the ability to do that. Another important thing to mention is that if Yoda has immobilized tokens, he can still be piggybacked with Chewbacca because Chewbacca does the move and then it says pick up Yoda and place him in base contact. A place isn't a move, and so therefore it doesn't care about the immobilized tokens. So if you had, let's say, Chewbacca here and Yoda was way over here, or something like that, and on a turn, and I had to burst of speed to get myself over here within range 1 of Chewbacca to start that whole scenario, I could have burst of speeded, ended over here, then followed up with the 2-pip on the following turn. Now I have an immobilized token, but I got to teleport, and then I get Chewbacca to run over here with Yoda, right? Really cool stuff. And it's things that you just can't do with other units in the game. They just literally can't do it with other units in the game. The ability to ignore these immobilized tokens, the ability to manipulate your speeds, and of course the 1-pip card. Don't forget, it allows you to do your actions twice. So for all of you savvy Jedi players, normally one of the limitations of a Jedi is the fact that the jump keyword can only be used one time. So if I had my Yoda over here behind this rock, and I wanted to jump into this melee over here with the yellow unit with any other Jedi, they could say, okay, sure, I'm going to jump up here, right? Or climb. Maybe they do a speed 1 climb, and then they want to jump, but like, I can't do it. I can't make base contact, right? Even if I had speed 2 on both of those, you have to do the speed 1 climb first. Well, Yoda, he's going to go speed 3. He's going to jump, right? And we're gonna just go ahead and and do the full move there, and then now we just do it again. And because I can jump, uh, I'm totally good to, as you can see, begin this melee way back here, right? So being able to use the keywords twice because of his 1-pip is going to allow you to find creative situations where, like, again, a normal Jedi wouldn't be able to have made it way over here. One, because they don't have that much speed, and even if they did have bursts of speed, that Jedi is still going to have to do the speed 1 climb, and then they can only do the jump once, right? And so that's going to limit the amount of distance that they're going to be able to get by quite a bit. Let's see.
He's got speed 3 and disengage. So if he maybe over here to over here to over
Yeah,
here.
and yep, and so we're going to cover that here in a second. Another thing that I wanted to talk about too is that is a is a is that a a speed 1 plus a cohere happens to be the same distance as a uh, speed 3. So if I have Yoda, I'm just going to go ahead and use this token to illustrate the point. If I had a unit who was in base-to-base contact with Yoda right here, I'm just going to put them both on the line just to drive the point home. Okay, and we were in a melee. If I did a force push with that unit, I have the wrong measuring stick out.
Okay.
Need the ARC Trooper. All right, so we're going to speed 1 the ARC Trooper. Um, and we do the full. The important thing to note is that that force push will allow me to force push and cohere out to here with the extra mini, and then we're done. That's the force push. And then now when I go with Yoda and I do the speed 3, as you can see, the speed 3 still gets me into melee. And as you can see by the fact that the base overlapped, um, they are very much able to do a force push. So I can maximize my force push moving the unit into a melee distance by a lot. That is a huge difference. If you have a speed 2 Jedi, you need to be a lot more finicky with your place after the cohere to ensure that the unit that you're doing the place of the cohered model, if you want to re-engage that unit or charge them or what have you, that unit need that second after the move, that second model that you're cohering, the one that you intend to be basing, can't go the full distance out. You can't fully cohere it out there. You have to cohere it a little less so that you can keep that speed 2. So that is one of the unique natures of two speed 1s and a speed 3 kind of having that perfect alignment. They're not exactly the same. If you actually bring out a millimeter tool, like there's about 2 millimeters difference of distance, or maybe it's just like 1 millimeter of distance difference. So that isn't me telling you to go out there and start using a speed 3 tool instead of a speed 1 tool when you're doing speed 1 double moves, like with Yoda, for instance. Like if I was gonna move Yoda twice, I would not use a speed 3 tool to just shortcut and say, okay, he's gonna make 2 moves. Don't do that. Go, correctly use the speed 1 tool for both of those moves in a game, because there is a millimeter difference, and you don't want to be cheating. But but because they're so close, it does illustrate the point that if you do a force push and a cohere, you're still able to base that cohered model, because the millimeter difference doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to base them. So that is something that's incredibly powerful and important, and I want people to always be looking at that when they're trying to um, to develop out the plays that they can do with Yoda, is think about that extra distance that you're going to get from the cohere before you do the next move. Okay, so now that we've done that and we talked about that, I wanted to show an example of juggling. This isn't a particularly great board state. We only have 2 models, but it does bring home something pretty common that I think you'll see in a lot of games, which is you'll have a center point objective here, and you have 2 units who are both within a single move from it, so that if this was like the key position or something like that, at the end of the game they'd want to be able to get there, right? Okay, that's all you need to know. They're less than 5.8 inches away, so therefore they can make the the single move touch the point. All right, so, and I'm going to put Yoda here just sort of arbitrarily. I mean, like, don't think about it too much, but what this is going to show you is that oftentimes when I'm playing games, I'm looking at where I want Yoda to end up, okay? More than anything else, all right? And maybe we're on turn 3 or so, and I want Yoda, to be behind this box. Maybe my opponent has some scary stuff, staged, and only place that I can actually be safe on the next turn is behind this box. Okay, again, super hypothetical, but I'm just trying to drive home the point. Think about where you want to end your Yoda, and then look for the play that gets you where you want to end, and you'll start to unravel and start to find some really interesting plays. So what are we going to do? How are we going to leapfrog? All right. Well, first off, we're speed 3. We're really fast. Okay. So as you can see, what looked to be relatively safe for my opponent, all of a sudden I'm over there, right? I'm now charging that unit. So off of that full move, very much able to overlap that base. I'm just going to kind of move it just a sec there. Boom. Okay, cool. I charge this unit, right? Bang. Got 4 red dice, right? Because I got charge. We roll them. Okay, we got 3. So you're going to go 3 pierce 2, just to kind of give people an idea. All right, you lost 3 guys. Cool. So I've just now brought you down to your heavy. This unit that's over here, okay, they're within range 1. Love it. Okay, so go ahead and pop out that core token for me, and let's do speed 1. I'm going to force push them. because I don't want to be engaged with yellow. I'm gonna let the rest of my army like finish off that heavy model, right? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a full speed 1. Boom. There we go. Now I got a cohere bubble. All right. What's important to note is that this model that I'm cohering, because I'm doing the force push, so I'm able to do the cohere. I'm gonna go ahead and cohere it like that. You know, whatever, 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 right? These guys don't matter as much because we're about to start another melee. So we're done with them. I'm gonna pop out the speed 3. And then now Yoda is going to be able to jump, and as you can see with that blue line, I can base anybody inside of that blue area, right? So I'm going to say, okay, I have disengaged this turn. I didn't have to use my force push to unengage with this unit because disengage allows me to leave an engagement with 1 unit, not 2, not multiple. Be very careful, people. Disengage doesn't work if you're engaged with lots of stuff. It only engages with one unit. So Yoda's engaged with 1 enemy unit. So he's gonna be able to leave this engagement. And because I have the jump keyword, I don't have to worry about climbs or anything. And even if I had to use jump, like to clear this obstacle here, again, I can use jump twice because of my 1 pip. So I'm able to have jumped into that combat, and I'm going to jump again. And so I am now back here basing this guy, and then my opponent will go ahead and finish, and I'll go ahead and just flip the token to end, and you'll go ahead and finish that. And then we're going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and roll 4 more dice. What do we get? We got 4 hits, pierce 2. Oh, wrong one. All right, and let's see how many died. Oh,
Oof.
4. Hey,
Man,
look at that.
my rolls are terrible.
Well, actually your roll is not bad. That's 50-50. You did
Yeah, that's
perfectly
average.
correct. You did average, but guess what? Now Yoda has just killed a model down to their heavy. He's killed an entire unit, including the heavy, but left himself very, very specifically left himself engaged with a model. So now, even if there are some units positioned in such a way where maybe they could get a move shoot off on Yoda, well, not anymore. Not only am I behind this big old piece of terrain here, but forget the terrain for just a second. Like, I'm still locked into a nice juicy combat, and I'm only engaging with 1 guy, right? So it's not scary or anything. Um, and this kind of brings me up to the next thing. So, well, what happens if we have other units over here, right? Maybe Chewbacca was chilling over here, and he charged this unit, but they had some insane saves, right? Can you go ahead and turn on the range on Chewbacca?
Hmm?
Cool. Chewbacca ran over here and he started an engagement. He did double move and he charged that unit, but man, they blocked everything, right? Okay, cool, no problem. After that, we can play that 2-pip, Chewbacca 2-pip, and then now Yoda, hey, yeah, he was engaged with 1 lonely guy that we don't care about. We're gonna snipe him at the end of the game. We're gonna kill him. But you know what's more important is that maybe I get Yoda away from danger. Maybe putting him back here was fine, but only for like a turn, right? Maybe you don't want to leave him back there, right? So now you
Yeah.
have all these other tools that are still in your toolkit. Remember, this is all about toolkit. You're gonna pick up the Yoda and you're gonna place him, and now Yoda is back into an engagement because yes, he can be placed into engagements, right? So he's basing Chewbacca and he's basing Yellow. He is now safe and sound inside of a melee. He cannot get shot by ranged units. So you have seen where a Yoda who started back here behind cover, slaughtered most of a unit here, slaughtered most of a unit behind a box, and then ends up at the beginning of the next turn before anything happens safely in a melee on the other side of the box, maybe out of line of sight or fire. And then we can take advantage of Chewbacca to pull Yoda out. So we're going to talk. So now we're looking at size matter sometimes some more. Um, we can use Chewbacca if this unit disengages from us, withdraws from us, or whatever, and maybe because we want to start getting shot. Okay, cool. They've withdrawn, right? Maybe. All right, cool. Chewbacca is now free to run around, or perhaps uh, perhaps something else happened. That my opponent is just trying to get as many shots on Yoda as possible. I don't blame him. Trying to kill the frog is always what you want to do. Well, Chewbacca can now do all of his moves and pick up Yoda and move him about. And so now we can see just how far you're able to go with Yoda, right? Where let's just for sake just show you the full distance. I can get Yoda way way over here, and we'll hit done. I can get Yoda way over here behind this box. So if this area was super dangerous for me, I can now get Yoda behind this box, and maybe it's impossible to get shot from this unit, over here. So this unit was positioned to where they could climb up on top of that building and shoot down on Yoda back there. And then now all of a sudden I've moved myself behind this box, and literally the only full thing that I'm worried about cannot see me anymore. So this is just trying to show you some of those plays and what you can do to help get it safe. And then you might say to yourself, well that's not good because I need somebody to touch the point. Okay, well if I haven't gone with Yoda, I can always just do that speed 2 move with Chewbacca to move him back, right? And so now Chewbacca's touching the point. Pick up and place Yoda. Yoda's touching the point. So so at the very last activation of the game, I can go and put 2 guys back on the point.
Jeez.
GG. I was completely
Yeah.
I was completely safe. I was completely safe behind the box, and then now I got my guys back on the point. And maybe this model made a speed 1 and was able to touch. All right, cool. Force push. Get out of here. Like it just fun little things that you're just like. Again, it's I'm not trying to hyper focus on where we've placed these models, even though it was a very viable starting setup. And also if you look, if that was turn 5 going into the next turn, this model started off being able to do a single move and get onto the point, and I've neutered him down to 1 model left. So even in a miracle scenario, he's not going to be able to run over here. This difficult terrain is going to stop him. He can do his full speed 2 here, and then he's a speed 1, and then he won't be able to make it onto the point with a double move, right? So I chopped up this unit, made it not only not a good firing battery. So what is he going to do? He moves over here and he maybe shoots one black die. Cool,
Hmm.
right? Like again, so neutering this unit down to just the 1 model, getting rid of the threat of these guys completely. They had to burn their withdrawal just so that they could touch the point and actually maybe do something. All of these little micro plays are very 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 realistic to like a actual game board, and I kind of showed you how I've only used 2 models. Like you see the game state that was there, right? It should have been a fairly even, like 5 red saving models versus my 2 guys, and I've turned it into an unwinnable situation for my opponent where they have nothing touching the point and they can't even get anything touching the point. And I've got 2 incredibly powerful bodies. Chewbacca for this turn is getting red saves, so he has 9 health red saves. Yoda is 5 health surging saves. Chewbacca's Guardian is red saves for this turn, so if they shoot Yoda, he's going to be getting all those Guardian 2 shots. This is an incredibly survivable duo that is now on the point. And all of that was just done on turn 5, turn 6, kind of like in a theoretical game of a turn 5, turn 6 that is very easily something that you can do and something that can happen. Um, the the uh, the other thing that I wanted to bring up is, and we already set up these guys kind of over here to kind of illustrate it, but if Yoda found himself in some weird world where he was involved in an engagement back here, because my opponent has rushed in to tie me up into a melee at the end of the last game. Really, what I just wanted to show is that like I can set my Chewbacca up on the following turn, right? We're trying to do key positions here as sort of like the example, and my 1 pip is down. My opponent knows it. I don't have my one pip. I don't have the ability to disengage. I don't have the ability to do speed 3 and all that. But I was smart enough to position my Chewbacca at the edge of this building. The building is a range 1 thick. If you look, if you kind of zoom into,
Yeah.
we were able to do this before, I promise.
Maybe I was over here
uh,
more.
there it is. We did it. I'm pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
If you move Yoda, you can actually see that the yellow is touching the ground there. Anyway,
Yeah.
just this is something that you would measure before the game. Please don't do this mid game to make your opponent feel bad, right? Yoda's up against this building. You know that the building is just slightly less than a range 1 thick, right? They tried to tie you up into melee. The important thing to look at, and the only thing that I really wanted to show, is that Yoda would never be able to get onto that point. Your opponent has locked him up. They know that they stopped your ability to use your burst of speed and, like, speed 3 twice to get onto the point. But you're a clever Yoda player. You have a Wookiee. As long as we have a Wookiee, we cannot lose. Uh, results may vary. but as long as we have a Wookiee, you cannot lose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that Chewbacca 2-pip, and I'm going to say, you know what, yoink, I'm going to grab him, and I'm going to drop Yoda back here. Right, and we're gonna base Chewbacca, and then now, again, we have that token, and we can grab our Chewbacca, and we can just do 2 full moves, boom, boom, and pick up Yoda, and we are now on the point with Yoda. So Yoda went from, I mean, and what I really want to show people here is that look at Chewbacca's range band, right? Through a range 1 building, right? We're range 3 away, and Yoda was able to make it all the way back onto the center point. Okay? Incredibly powerful stuff if you're making these measurements before the game starts, having that conversation with your opponent. Is this less than range 1? That can come up at the end of a game, okay? So I would very much suggest, you taking your models and doing all kinds of range 1 measurements, right? It looks to me that this container, if I was touching the edge of the container, it is teleportationable, right? Yoda can teleport through this container, right? You're gonna want to look for these everywhere. All just grab one of your range 1 sticks, just measure everything, measure everything, measure everything. And if you think it's on the fence, grab your opponent and be like, that looks like it's just less than range 1, right? Get them to confirm. Then there's not any feels bad in a competitive game when you have to say, okay, cool, we agreed this was less than a range 1 thick. So therefore, I move my Chewbacca to be on the other side of this. I play my Chewbacca 2-pip. I am allowed to teleport Yoda into base contact, right? And there's no feels bad. Your opponent's like, yep, cool, yep, we talked about that, we agreed. And that's where you want to have every game. You always want to have it be like, not a gotcha. You want, and you want to have that agreement. And if they don't think that that's range 1, well, you're not going to play with it that way the whole game, and that's going to change and shape how you actually go through the course of the whole game, right? That can't be teleported through that way. Maybe you have to teleport through it on the diagonal. Oops, I didn't mean to pick them up. You would teleport on the diagonal, right? So you can still do it. You just do it from there to there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like this. Cool. So yeah, that kind of goes to show. So just to kind of recap some of the things that we talked about jump and the power of being able to jump through terrain. We talked about disengage and how you can leave melee and be maneuverable. We looked at the Chewbacca 2-pip, teleporting Yoda, the base contact, bringing him in and out of melee engagements, right? If Chewbacca starts an engagement after the coherency of the models, if he charged these guys, and then after this, if I have that Yoda 2-pip, I take Yoda, I pick him up, and I place him into base contact with Chewbacca, and if that also includes an enemy model, he's engaged in combat with that enemy model. This is also relevant too, because if Chewbacca doesn't want to be in the engagement for whatever reason, I can also move Chewbacca up just just near it, and then I can place them in contact. So now only Yoda is in the engagement. This is incredibly powerful because what it does is on this turn, Chewbacca has 9 health of red saves. I'm okay with him getting shot. I've got force barrier. I'm going to protect him. He's fine. He's chilling. He's 9 health red saves. He's got 2 surge tokens from reliable 2. That Wookiee's going to live through a lot of stuff, right? But he's not in that engagement. So maybe I've activated the Chewbacca. His token's flipped, right? But Yoda hasn't gone yet. And then towards the later round or whenever I'm ready, I can activate Yoda and still guidance that Chewbacca. And because that Chewbacca isn't in this engagement, I could have the Chewbacca move freely, right? And then I pick up the Yoda and then I do a place, right? And then perhaps I, if I wanted to, I could. This is a bad example, because I wasn't really thinking about it till just now. But maybe I moved Chewbacca just enough so that after that I can do the force push and then start the engagement over here, right? So I've moved that engagement because Chewbacca wasn't engaged initially. I didn't have to burn my force push on the front end of the activation. I could burn my force push at the end of the activation to move where that Yoda's uh um where that Yoda's engagement is, right? And it's entirely possible that there was another unit here, and that's the one that I wanted to attack, but I want to keep Yoda sticky in this engagement, right? So maybe, so these are the things that you're looking for, right? If there was this guy here and he was the lone dude, we started. I'm going to just use this as the example, right? I moved the Chewbacca, I placed Yoda into base contact with this unit, and this red guy is just outside of a force push range. I'm just, you know, again, believe me, I'm not measuring it, but uh, yeah, it's probably closer to there, right? It's got to be more than it's got to be more than uh,
Oh,
4 inches or less than 4 inches. I'm trying to do the yeah, there we go. Cool, he is there. Now he's definitely. All right, see, can't make it. All right, but Chewbacca off of a move. Chewbacca starts the engagement here. Do the place here, and then now we can do this force push. Oh, why is that working? There we go. Now we do that force push. Why is the I don't know why it's not working for me. I'm trying to get. Oh, it's probably the
there
wrong
you go.
token.
No, that's
Is it the
right.
wrong
That's right.
token?
Nope, it was
Okay.
right. It was right.
Ah, all right. Well, I'm measuring from the wrong guy. But I think it still worked out. Look at that. I can force push you into base contact with me. Sick. Woo! So yeah, I did it. I did it,
Nice.
right? So I'm able to start the engagement here off the force push, and then I use one of Yoda's attacks because he guidance, and then he attacks and he force pushes, and red is dead, and I have moved the melee, right? That's the power of not having the Chewbacca in the engagement, right? I was able
Mm-hmm.
to save that force push. So that was sort of an impromptu, just thought of it scenario, something that I have done in games. It has come up, right? Um, uh, Dragging around a safe melee is incredibly annoying for your opponent. And because Yoda is Master of the Force 2, you always have Force Push, right? So it's never not there. You don't have to choose between it and Barrier to keep your Chewbacca safe and those kinds of things. You always have them. And so keeping a unit that is relatively safe to be engaged with and moving them around with you can be incredibly powerful. And then only at the end of the game, when I'm finally done with these guys, then I can do a lightsaber attack, and you literally can't live, right? Because I have Pierce 2. So I roll 4 red Pierce 2. And I mean, yes, I guess there is some chance that I blank on 3 red dice. But look, if at that point, you just smile, you shake your opponent's hand, and you say, "GG, the dice gods have spoken." If you roll three blanks on 4 red, it is what it is. But yeah, it's relatively safe. I would say on 98% of 99% of games, I would do that and feel incredibly confident about the play to be able to single melee attack that unit and kill it, right? So So yeah, going back to the recap, we did look at the units coherency distance versus speed 3 and the difference between what a speed 2 unit can do in terms of reach and threat range versus a speed 3 unit with their reach and their threat range. So and that right there concludes the melee menace tutorial.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's definitely got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and it really makes it to where he's just almost impossible to kill, but or at least he's really, really good at objective play.
Yep, his objective play with guidance is always incredible, and his ability to toolbox his way out of situations is what I want players to be thinking about when they're looking at playing Yoda. Is how can I win the game without rolling any dice? And if there is a way to ensure an outcome without rolling dice, you always take that one, right? So
Right.
this is where showing you the juggling people with force pushes and positioning yourself and using double jump, right? Speed 3 double jump plus force push and all these kinds of tricks to again, you don't want to roll dice. Don't say, "Yeah, I got surging red saves. I'll be fine." Just make it so they can't shoot you at all, right? Like that's where I want players to be thinking, right? Because again, those rolls are going to vary. There is going to be a time where you roll 4 red blocks, right? And I only kill 2 guys off of a melee, right? There's going to be those games. You just roll hot, you get 4 blocks, right? Okay, I pierce 2. Boy, and then the temptation is to sit there and be like, well, I'll just roll another attack and kill that unit. No, 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 don't do that. Go jump into another engagement. Go jump somewhere else and thin that unit down and start doing those whittled downs and utilize your other command cards to reposition yourself back into old engagements or other places. And again, if people have already watched, I hope you've watched the other ones where we talked about the objective play, because this one was more focused on the melee aspect. But as we saw in the other video, in the objective play, you're able to really do some crazy things with guidance and the distances that things can move. So when you combine that video and the tutorial that you kind of got there with all the different distances and how you can grab things and move things and reposition things, and I've shown that you can create a situation where your opponent is on the offense. They have to rush into you, right? And they're spending all their movement into you. The inevitable will always happen that they have moved just inside of your threat range, and then now you know how to become the melee menace and send that angry frog into their lines, jumping around, chopping them up, and thinning them down to the point where they're never able to recover. They're never able to kind of come back from the deficit that you've set up. And that is the true power of playing Yoda, is that you set the pace of the game and you tell your opponent, come at me, and then you utilize your tool bag to create a game environment where they're they're having to roll really hot to even have a chance. And again, you're basically saying, I don't even care about what my rolls are. My rolls don't even matter. I'm juggling you, I'm pushing you, I'm bumping you around. I'm I'm a menace. And if they finally do wind up killing the frog, the damage is done. They've lost half their army. You lost a quarter of your army for points, and the deficit is too great to make up. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in the place where, again, the fewer dice you can roll to determine an outcome of a game, the better. And that's why we need to really be hyper focused on our command cards and the tricks that we have in order to, again, just be laser focused on the objective the whole time and then utilize these tools. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Thank you for explaining that and taking the time to just kind of show us the master class of Yoda and how good he is.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, guys. Well, stay tuned for other episodes of other units. But yeah, that was great, man. And we will see you in another video soon. Thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you later.
Peace.